Hello from Orange County, California, and my coffee/camera bar today. You know, if you've watched this before, the idea behind this account is that everything's analog. So today we are recording on a Panasonic 2004 camcorder up over here, and down here for the close-up stuff we are using a Sony High 8, about 2004 or 5, something like that, right before they went digital. So when I saw this lot of items come up at the auction house, I knew I was going to be interested. I probably overpaid at 40 bucks, but part of the fun of buying this kind of stuff is the adventure that's involved in seeing what you might be able to make out of this group of cameras. So if you're new to film and you're looking at this kind of stuff, this is a perfect lot to look at for some things to look out for. So I thought I'd just walk through a little bit and talk about why these cameras work and why they won't work. So looking at these, you might think that some of them are probably 120, maybe 35 millimeter. This one is obviously 35 millimeter, or it looks like it. And when you start looking at them and pulling the backs off, you might see some weird film sizes. And if you're not sure, probably best to stay clear, but a quick Google search will probably help you. If it says in here someplace the film size that it takes, you can look it up. Used to be, like this camera, was not worth buying. Uses a film called 127. For the longest time, you couldn't get this film anymore. So there's just tons of cameras out here that use this film, but it wasn't available until just recently. Film Photography Project started selling it again, so these cameras become usable again. The one thing you can check is the shutter, and the way you do that is open it up so it's like that, take your phone, turn the light on, go like this, and let me show you here. Ideally, when I click the shutter, you will see a little light here. Try it again. And that means at least the shutter is clicking and closing. Whether the speed's right or not, we'll have to see after we put some film in, but there's hope here. And this guy, unfortunately, is probably the best camera in the batch, but he's got some problem. He's an Argus, takes 620. So 620 is almost the same as 120. You can see it right here, virtually identical. The difference is the film is identical, but the little pieces of plastic at the top and bottom are just a little bit bigger and smaller. The 120 is a little bigger plastic. I don't have one out, but you can just even see it here. A little bigger, this one's just a hair smaller. So this, which you can get, is not gonna fit in these cameras. And this, which was actually in this camera, won't really fit into a 120 because it'll slop around too much. So what that means is that, again, until just really recently, this camera, anything that said 620 was obsolete. The Film Photography Project has started to re-roll these in bulk. So they're taking large bulk 120, re-rolling them on a smaller spool, and so they're usable and available again. So this takes 620, and open this back up. It's really made very well. It's made out of Bakelite, so the plastic is thicker, and you can see, you know, you put your film in down here, and this is where your take-up reel. Now, the one thing to look at an auction, if you're doing this, is be careful there's not pieces missing that you want to anticipate. So this piece is missing, and this should be where you roll the film up. Obviously missing. Obviously, I probably can't find another. So this is a display that's going to go on my shelf, and that's it, which is kind of too bad because, like I say, I think this is probably the nicest camera of the group, but I knew going into it, it wasn't going to work. So that's too bad. Then we have the curveball guys, and we'll see what happens with them. I'm getting a cable so I can hook this up to my computer, hoping that this will actually work. for two reasons. One is if it does, you know, it's worth some money. Not a great deal, but it is worth some money. And so that's a resale possibly. And the other reason might be that even though this is a much older camera than the ones I'm using right now, this was probably going to give a better picture. And the reason for that was up until they got really consumer orientated, these type of cameras were more for niche people. And so the components in it and the recording mode actually looks a little better than the higher and newer cameras that were much smaller and made for portability and that kind of thing. So we're going to hope on that one. So that's it. How to shop at an auction. Hopefully in a couple of weeks I got some film on order, we got a cable on order, and in a few weeks I'm hoping I can show you what this stuff looks like. And until then, thanks for watching, and please like, subscribe, and comment. And I think I'm going to go back to having some coffee.